Hey, welcome to everybody's favorite podcast. This is the Outer Belt with Patrick,
Chili,
Buttermilk,
Eric,
and Jerry.
Welcome back to our show. So glad to have you. It's been some just beautiful, fantastic weather outside. We're getting beautiful, like 70-degree morning. I'm sorry, 50-degree mornings.
I know, right?
And then it goes to like a nice warm 800, and then back down to 50.
yeah.
What about 800, maybe AD?
It was 84, 85 today.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
92 tomorrow.
92
Ooh.
tomorrow. In what state?
92 here. 92
Wow.
tomorrow.
That's
and
ridiculous.
91 on the next day.
That might be it. Don't hold your breath, but that might be it for the 90s.
I thought we all wanted to go back to the 90s.
Yeah. No, I want 80s.
80s. I agree with
80s.
you.
I'm an 80s girl.
Yeah, it's crazy hot out there.
I see the rain's going to set in. I think it's
This
remnants
weekend.
of Francine.
Yeah.
She's just going to hit all the Midwest.
We need it.
Yeah.
Oh, we
yeah.
need it.
Yeah. Heavy
The
rains,
rain,
too.
yeah. Good.
I was looking at a good half inch or more.
Nice. Nice.
Here comes the rain again,
It's so do.
Falling on my head.
like a melody.
What? The raindrops keep falling on your head?
Oh, that's a different song. We
Different
do
Oh,
that
song
what
one
are you
too.
completely.
singing?
You don't know that song?
Here
That's-
comes the rain again.
That's Eurythmics.
Annie
The
Lennox.
Eurythmics, yeah.
Annie Lennox.
Eurythmics, Annie Lennox, yeah.
Aren't they the sweet dreams?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't stand the rain.
Missy
I
Elliott.
got nothing.
It's my window.
Well, she redid it. I don't know
That's
the original.
Tina Turner.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's love got to do?
There's a lot of rain songs. I liked yours though. Yours was good. Dancing in the rain.
Singing
What you
in the
said?
rain.
Singing in the rain.
Singing to the rain.
Singing. Yep.
That's funny.
Oh.
My grass will sure like it. I know we've talked about that a couple of episodes.
It's
that
so
yours
dry
is
out
looking a
there.
little bit. Everybody, just because most places don't have automatic watering systems around. Not even the
You
cornfields.
gotta have irrigation. If you're gonna have corn sweat and you're gonna have drought conditions, you gotta have irrigation.
Yeah.
It's just so weird how we've got drought and corn sweat.
Yeah.
Like the
That's-
two don't seem to.
I saw an article today that said that Columbus had to tap into their water reserves because of the drought.
Wow.
Yeah.
I saw last week that the governor, somebody of Ohio, claimed state of emergency for some certain counties for the drought so that they can get some sort of compensation for the loss of crops.
So my understanding is southeast of here,
Yes.
like in the Hocking Hills area, where it gets mountainous and really pretty. You would think they'd have tons of water. They're getting hit the worst by the drought.
Yeah.
Kind of north of us and really where we're at, it's mild drought. But
I think the whole southeast has like a burn ban in effect.
They
and
do.
Wow.
everything.
oof,
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Crazy.
yeah, I hate that. Man, I remember back when I used to camp out and go places like I said camp out, I mean like in a tent, going somewhere and finding out they're in the middle of a burn ban, and it's like we got a pickup truck full of wood. We brought lighter fluid. Got to bring it all back.
Yeah.
That was just miserable.
It's horrible.
But I love a campfire, bonfire. Yeah, so it'd be nice to have some rain, maybe get the burn ban gone. I don't know. A lot of times with those burn bans, just one big weekend of rain doesn't really solve it.
No, it's
So-
going to take time.
Yeah, probably be next year with all the snow. Hopefully we have a
Yeah.
wet, snowy winter, and
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm hoping for that. Hoping for a wet, snowy winter.
I'm like heavy snow.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Icy.
3-4 feet of snow.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah, the kind of
Yeah.
like the snow that gets all brown and black and
Mhm.
funky on the
Yeah,
side
on
of
the
the
sides,
road. It
yeah.
never goes
Just
away, and
can't
it's
wait for
there.
that.
Just like
I'm so looking forward to
makes
it.
me think of
Because that means like the temperature is going to be below freezing,
oh yeah,
like well below
Oh,
freezing for
yeah.
days on end.
days.
Oh, I just can't wait for that.
Just
Looking
can't
so
wait.
forward to it.
I bet. Get out of these 90-degree temperatures, am I right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd right.
Just move right into freezing temperatures
That's
for
right.
days on end.
That's right. See Arnold show up, Mr. Freeze. Get it? Nobody. It's a Batman thing. So, speaking of
That was
which,
funny.
thank you. I try. But was it too funny?
No,
No,
no, not quite there. Just funny. Yeah.
that's funny. Well, speaking of Arnold and Mr. Freeze, Jerry, this week we had something exciting happen. And since you're Mr. Apple, I thought you'd explain.
Yeah, so we had an Apple event this week. I know a lot of people out there enjoy Apple just as much as I do, but yeah, we had the brand new iPhones announced.
Is this EDC
EDC.
or what do they call it?
WWDC?
WWDC?
No, that's in June.
Jinx.
So this
You owe me a
was
Coke.
what was this?
This is just the iPhone event. Every September, back whenever I had my old jobs, I actually always took this week off just so I could focus on Apple and watch the event. I know.
Wow.
For a week.
I
Wow.
literally
How long is the event?
An
hour and a half.
I'm pretty sure people who
but
work
I
for the
would-
show didn't take a week.
I
to do it.
literally would plan my entire week vacation at my old job around this event. I would find out when it was, and that's when I would take it
Oh.
because I have to watch the event, and then I would always do the pre-order, and I had to be home whenever the phone
Sure.
got delivered because otherwise they won't leave it.
Right.
That's
You have
true.
to be there to get it.
Yep. And,
So I just did all that during my
Yeah.
vacation.
and
So
really,
you
the-
made a comment that you're pretty sure people that actually worked the show didn't take a week to do it.
yeah,
I promise you, they take a lot longer than
Oh,
a week
yeah.
to do it.
I know. I was making a
Right, 'cause-
sarcastic comment.
I would spend probably 3 months in planning and prep for the show, and probably the month leading up to it was 16-hour days, and the day after was another 16-hour day, and then we would hit the road for press tours.
So are they still doing the press tours? Like, are those just kick off kind of thing?
Yesterday was a kickoff kind of thing, and now they're doing everything. Sorry, I feel like I'm stealing Jerry's glory here. Now they do pre-recorded for all the events because
Okay.
they stopped doing live events during COVID, and now they're doing pre-recorded, but they are still doing. Now they'll have press folks there to watch it, and then after the event, they'll still be able to go in and get hands-on with the devices, and then they'll also have briefings for specific press people, like one-on-one briefings with
Okay.
the product manager, and they'll do them all over the world still for people that can't travel to
I see.
Cupertino for that event.
And what did they have?
First was an update with the Apple Watch. So the Apple Watch Series 10, a little larger display. It's more rounded. New color. It's actually aluminum, but they do like this polish on it to make it look jet black.
Will that replace the Ultra? Or no, there's
No.
still two different things.
Two different things.
Okay.
Yeah. The Ultra, they actually didn't upgrade. All they did was come out with a new color. It's kind of like a matte black. I ain't gonna lie, it looks sexy.
So
Kinda
it's
want it.
sexy.
Yeah.
I want it.
When's it coming in?
Pre-orders are open now, and the watch will be out next Friday, the 20th.
And
When
will
do
you
you-
have
when is-
yours
when's
on
yours get
Friday the
delivered?
20th?
No, I'm not. I still am rocking the Ultra Series 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
the antique.
I actually,
I am shocked. Can I be
Yeah.
honest? I'm really
I am too.
surprised.
I thought about it. I really, really did, but it's just-
Breville, I watch.
Right.
Breville,
Can you-
I watch.
I know you can get a nice trade-in value for that Series 1.
Well, that's what I was about to ask. Can you just trade those or no?
You can.
Yeah.
I've already checked to see how much Apple would give
Yeah.
me.
What would Snapple give you?
If I traded this to Apple, they're offering me $310,
Maybe
I'll give you $320.
Ooh,
which isn't bad. I mean, think about it. I've had to watch
$10 more than Apple.
It's a 2-year-old watch now. at this point.
2-year-old watch, and
yeah.
brand new is only $800, so
Right.
that's not a bad deal.
It's only
Only 800.
only 60%
Hey.
cheap.
Yeah.
I look at it that
It's like a
Apple,
BMW,
Apple
this-
products hold their value.
They
Rolls
do.
Royce.
I'll give you $320 for it.
Let's
cash.
talk after the show.
All right. Oh, hey, sweetheart. I didn't realize you were sitting there. Yeah, I got to take that offer back, Jerry. Sorry.
Gotcha.
Well, I need a new Apple Watch, and you told me to wait, so I need to go look at the 10. Should I consider the 10 or do the Ultra?
It depends on how big of a display you want.
Yeah.
I really like yours.
The 10 is now a 46 millimeter display,
And my old one was
the
a-
Ultra is a 49.
I think my old one was a 44. Does that sound right?
Yes.
I had the 4.
No, you
Jesus.
had the 42.
42. Okay.
So this is a 44. You
Okay.
had a 42. They go bigger, but they don't look a whole lot bigger.
Kind of like
And then the new 10 is thinner, actually, also.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Well, it's like iPhones. I mean, they just get the bevel.
Right,
around
the bezel's
edge.
tiny.
The bezel.
Yeah,
sorry.
tinier and tinier. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, even the new watch can now detect sleep apnea.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
Vincent
Yeah.
shared that. He
I
texted
shared that
me
with her yesterday when I was
That's
watching
very
it.
cool.
And another stat that they mentioned also was 80% of people that have sleep apnea don't know it.
Yeah.
Let me ask you another question that's even more important. Do you sleep with your watch on? Because that's when I charge my watch. So can my watch detect sleep apnea sitting on the charger
It
next to
cannot.
me?
It cannot, but
That would be a cool trick.
the battery life on these watches has gotten so great that you don't necessarily need to charge every day.
Oh, see, mine lasts.
The
10,
other thing
12
too
hours.
is you can put it on the charger for 30 minutes and get 80% charge.
Oh,
So
on
you
the new
sleep
ones.
with it. When you go get a shower, you throw it on the charger,
yeah.
and you get 80% charge.
Okay, it's not bad.
So
Yeah, I get that.
Yeah.
And that's over a day, right? At this point.
Yeah.
80% charge is over a day of charge.
you're probably getting a full day on it.
A regular one. Now this one, I can go 2 full days without charging it.
Oh wow.
The battery's really, really big in this one.
Cool. Well, I'm gonna go Apple Store check it out. I may end up with the Ultra 2, I guess, as well. May get that new sexy color that you keep bragging about.
So
Hot pink or
No, matte black.
matte
So a
black-
new
matte black.
phone and a new watch. That's what they came out with.
Oh, what was the
And-
phone?
Yeah, the phone was iPhone 16. Got announced.
Oh, it's Sweet 16.
Yeah.
Aww.
Talking about the bezels you were just speaking of, the thinnest bezels on a smartphone ever to date. The bezels on the new phone is only 1.77 millimeters.
Yeah.
It literally is just.
I guess you want a new phone. Is that what you're saying?
It just was sitting
me
there.
throw this
Nobody
thing
was
on the
touching
floor.
it. I'm
If
so,
you're-
I'm so
phone.
sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt.
If you're just listening, Melissa just threw her phone across the room.
It was on
Anyways.
the armrest, and it just like somebody swiped it off there.
It just committed iPhone suicide. Now you say it's the thinnest bezel
Yes.
of any smartphone.
Any.
Most of us don't consider Android phones.
Oh wow, them's fighting words for some folks.
Well, those
I
people
have
are
to say,
wrong.
there's a lot of our drivers that have Android.
Yeah, there
It's
are.
crazy.
Yeah,
Bless their heart.
I know. Well,
Well, when I first met Melissa, she had an Android phone.
listen, the Bible clearly says, "For all have sinned and
Yeah.
fallen short." So I'm just
Yeah.
saying,
I hear you.
you know,
It took
Hey.
a lot of convincing to switch me too.
Speaking of the new phone, iOS 18 comes out Monday. So you'll be able to text Android users now.
and you've been on 18, right?
Yep. So you'll be able to text Android users. You'll be able to have high resolution photos, videos. You won't get that cropped down little bitty square anymore. You'll
Yeah.
get red receipts. You'll get typing indicators. All that stuff's coming with iOS 18.
And that is really courtesy of the European Union, correct?
Maybe a little, but not
Okay.
really. I mean, Apple just kind of. You're still going to have the green bubble.
I think
I
Apple.
thought they were getting rid of the green bubble.
No.
There was lots of talk from the EU and also United States government
Yeah.
about making them more compatible. And Apple, I think, on this one, preemptively said, "Okay, we're going to do this."
Kind of like we lost the USB-C thing. Let's go ahead and just jump the gun on this. That way
Kinda.
we can kind of do it on our
Yeah.
terms.
Yeah.
Show that we're doing it. Yeah, that makes
Yeah.
sense. That makes sense. I can see that. Well, cool. I'm still rocking an iPhone 13 Pro. So maybe I'll get the 16. I like the idea of having a sweet 16 phone.
If you want the new Apple Intelligence features, then you're
I
going to
really
have
don't.
to get the 15 Pro or the new 16.
Is there a 16 Pro or no?
Yes.
There is, yeah.
Is it nice?
It's been redesigned. It has an all new internals, better heat management, upgraded cameras. They added a new dedicated camera capture button now.
I saw that.
Yeah.
I did see
Yeah.
that.
That's pretty slick.
I think it's a lot of improvements. My other half disagrees. He's like, he's still rocking a 14. So
Yeah, I get that. I mean, so I have a 13 Pro, and Apple Care replaced this phone, if you remember. So I went in for like a cracked lens. I've never cracked a glass on the phone, knock on wood, but somehow I managed to crack one of the lenses on the back. When they went in to check the lens, they found water, so I had to get a whole phone replacement, which was $100. Not even that. I don't even think it was that much. So they literally just sent me a whole brand new phone. I it was crazy. I thought they would, but yeah, whole brand new phone. And so since I've gotten this brand new phone, I'm like, I don't really see a reason to upgrade now because I have a whole brand new phone.
Sure.
But we travel so much, the better quality pictures and video and everything, that really appeals to me strongly. So I would like to upgrade for that. Apple Intelligence,
I'm telling you, don't knock it until you actually use it. Right now, it's limited. What I've been testing, they don't have all of Apple Intelligence out there, and they've even got on their website that a lot of the features are going to be coming next year. But some of the things that I have been using and doing the beta testing is really, really neat. But they are moving towards like it's going to be deeply integrated, something that no other cell phone carrier can do. I mean, literally, like, is going to be on the device. It only does anything outside cloud computing whenever it has to. It asks you before it does that for privacy concerns. You literally will be able to. Siri is getting way smarter, and you will literally be able to just ask Siri, like, what time does my mom's flight land? And she literally can go into your messages, find it, pop it up, add it to your calendar, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
You can literally say, like, someone texts you a new address, and you can say, update my contact, and Siri will automatically update everything for you.
Will I be able to do like the, make up with my partner?
No.
You get home, like, I love the flowers. Oh, you're welcome.
Yeah.
I think it's getting to a point to where what people think of artificial intelligence, it's like Apple is literally on their way to providing a lot of that stuff.
A lot of like really exciting stuff, like the movie AI.
Yeah.
Well, that's very exciting. I'll probably end up doing it. It's time. We got on this stupid program to upgrade our phone every year,
And you don't?
and we don't. I mean, like,
I do every year. I watched the event yesterday, and then I got the email last night saying, get ready. I've already got pre-approved. I've already done everything, so that way I can just wake up Friday morning and hit one button, and I'm ready to go.
that's nice.
Wow.
Super cool.
I do it every year. It's my thing.
Well,
I just kind of put that in my budget, I just
Yeah.
I look at it as I just rent my phone. I don't ever want to own it.
Right.
I just
Look at
rent
that.
it and
Right.
keep
well,
getting the new ones.
and I did see, if I'm not mistaken, that the AirPods are newly designed, but the AirPod Pro didn't really have much.
I would disagree. It's the same design and everything, but they added the ability for hearing aids.
Oh,
So
that's
the
right. That
the AirPod
was
Pro
it.
is,
Yeah.
is all software based. There's
Yeah.
no new hardware in the AirPod
Correct.
Pro.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
that's crazy if you think about it. You no longer have to spend hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a hearing aid.
Yeah.
It will literally, and they're getting FDA
Right.
approval and everything.
I
Yeah.
did see that, and I actually thought it'd be cool for some people in my life that are stubborn and don't want to get hearing aids. I thought, well, maybe I just need to get some people a Christmas gift. I mean, so Eric and I bought hearing aids for a family member years ago, and it was $4,000, I think.
Yeah, they're not cheap.
Mm-mm.
Super expensive. Man, can you imagine $400?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But great, and they last a long time. When you're not using them, AirPod Pros last forever.
They do.
Um,
They do.
when you're using them, they say 3 hours. They're not lying. 3 hours, they're done. But if you're not using them on a call, they last for a long time. It's very, very cool, very exciting stuff. I'm excited to see what Apple's doing. I know some people are not big Apple fans. I think Elon Musk told his employees he can't get it because he doesn't trust AI or something like that with Apple. But
Which is ridiculous because it's
Totally ridiculous.
It's so secure and
Yeah.
private.
Well, ChatGPT, he was one of the initial investors in it. He's doing his own AI thing now. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
well, it's just building hype. That's all.
That's all he's doing.
So much of everything we see in the news these days is just propaganda.
Good old Elon
And now
Musk.
you can just put something out there,
Mhm.
and then it's out there. Fact or not, it's out there.
It's out there.
So last week we talked about year 2, or I guess year. I don't know what it was.
You're
Our second year in business, our first year owning
fleet owning.
a truck
Yes.
as an owner operator.
Oh, yes.
Yes. So I thought we'd catch up where we left off.
Okay.
1 year later, we bought our second truck. So we went to a show down in Memphis, Tennessee, that they used to do called the Egg Expeditor Group Gathering. Met some good friends down there, or made some good friends down there that year. Down in Texas, Caleb and Annie Harper. He owns Harper's Hot Shot, Purple Priority. So if you're interested in running a tractor trailer and you maybe want to run as a solo or something, give him a check out. He runs some cool stuff, does a lot of work in the Midwest, and has some beautiful Cascadias. They're all purple.
Wow. Imagine that.
Staying on brand. We met them hanging out inside of a 2009 Freightliner Cascadia with a 96-inch AA custom sleeper that we thought was the cat's meow.
I bet.
It
Yeah.
was beautiful on the inside. White cabinets. The bed was not on the back wall like a lot of trucks are. The bed was on the side wall, and it had a dinette set. The bed folded down over the dinette set, and it had a big refrigerator on the very back wall, and then it had darn near 6 feet, about 6 feet of countertop space.
Wow.
And then it had a closet and a microwave. We thought this thing was so cool, and they were in there talking about, we literally met them in there, like, "Hi, I'm Patrick," kind of thing. And they were talking about buying it for their fleet of trucks and how much they liked it. And we were like, okay, well, crap, we missed out on this, We hung out with them for a couple days, and we were in there again checking it out. "Do y'all want to buy this truck?" And we were like, "Yeah, it's something we're interested in." And he's like, "All right, I'm not going to buy it. If y'all want to buy it, y'all can," kind of thing. So we're like, "Oh, that's super cool." So talked to the people, and sure enough, we ended up buying that truck off them. It was a C unit with FedEx Custom Critical. It wasn't leased on any carrier. It qualified as a C unit at FedEx Custom Critical. It was our first temperature-controlled unit, T-Val program over at FedEx, and had it was a real unique design, because back in 2009, nobody had really done the roof cutout for the reefer unit over the sleeper. So there were a lot of unique configurations. Some people had really short sleepers that you really couldn't stand in, and the reefer was over that. Some people had the reefer unit mounted underneath the truck. Do you remember those?
Oh, yeah, I had one.
Okay, so there you go. And then some people had a modification that they were doing where they literally took the box and cut like 4 foot up, and they would go in 3 foot and then up the rest of the way to the box and put like a indent,
like
a notch in the box itself.
Like the iPhone has a notch.
Yeah, exactly. And they would put the reefer unit in that notch. That's what this truck had. So it was a modified box. It only really had about 18 foot of usable space, but the box was technically 22 feet long. Yeah, that was our foray into the wonderful world of FedEx reefer freight.
So did you move into this truck?
So we did. We actually bought the truck. Eric and I moved in that truck, and then our other truck, or Kenworth, we got a team in it, and that team actually just retired this past year. They were with us for a long time.
Wow.
But they went and got in our Kenworth and ran dry freight. Eric and I just literally learned how to do T-Val freight after buying a truck to do it, which is the absolute worst way you can do it. Don't do it that way. It's foolishness. We had already done fairly well, gotten our feet in pretty good on the dry van side. We really knew that market pretty well. And so moving over to the reefer side, we're still working with the same carrier. So we didn't have to learn anything really from the carrier's perspective, except for how to run the temperature loads. Now, for those of you who don't know, FedEx Custom Critical, their temperature loads are actually pharmaceuticals. So it's not frozen pizzas or Hot Pockets or anything like that. It is pharmaceuticals. And so we had to go through all the FDA class and learn how to haul those pharmaceuticals. We had to learn how to use, they have a data logger inside the truck that measures temperatures at 4 different places inside the truck, 1 place outside the truck, and then they actually record that. And depending on the customer, it can be anywhere from a 15-minute interval. So every 15 minutes, it's recording that temperature, which is pretty standard. But some customers want 5-minute intervals. Some people want 1-minute intervals. Like, it just depends. It can do a lot.
That can make a long tape.
Make a very long tape. So you have to program it. And so we had to learn how to do all that stuff and how to comply with all these standards. It got real strict with our uniform because it's just it's considered part of their white glove services. So everything's just a little elevated from that. And that is the market today we currently play in at FedEx. We don't have any dry units at FedEx. We do everything with them on their temperature-controlled side. But yeah, so Eric and I had to go and learn it, and it's so funny. I can still remember going into FedEx's headquarters and sitting down with Angie, and she went through the class with Eric and I, and you walk into a room, and they've got a bunch of did you do all this? They have a bunch of little data loggers set up.
Mm. So whenever my first truck with FedEx,
It was chisel and stone.
no.
Jerry was going out there with the old mercury thermometer and standing there for 5 minutes, freezing his tail off, checking temperatures.
So did you have like the data logger, kind of like what we have now?
Yes.
In the dash? I actually had an old style one. So we had like a box that was about 3 foot wide, and it was mounted in the sleeper, and it had a red light and a green light on top of it.
Oh, geez.
So as you're going down the road, whoever was in the sleeper, if you ever had green light stayed on all the time, you knew everything was good. If it ever switched over to red, you knew you had a problem.
Right.
So whoever was in the sleeper had to get up and check it. But you opened the box up, and in that box, the 4 probes were actually like click dials that you had to set, like an old watch or something.
Wow.
Yeah. So that is what I learned on.
So can I
Sounds
just
like a
say,
Xerox machine
I
of
just
some
wanna
sort.
note something here. I think Jerry's a fisherman
Oh.
because the box is about 3 foot wide.
Yeah.
It's about 3 foot wide. So I just think Jerry's a fisherman.
Yeah.
You got to explain to the audio listeners what just happened.
I'm sorry. For the audio listeners only, Jerry told us the box is about 3 foot wide, and he put his hands up maybe 10 inches.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 inches.
About the size of an apple.
Yeah.
iPad.
About the size of my iPad, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just wanted to share that with the group.
That's
It wasn't 3 foot, but
And it weighed about 97 pounds.
Of course.
Sounds very archaic. Did it have a name for the system? Like these are data loggers.
it did, and unfortunately I don't remember.
That's okay.
I just remember it made a god-awful sound whenever it went off, and you always had to pay attention to that light. The sound would wake whoever was up in the sleeper, and if it went red, you knew you had a problem.
So
It's
you
funny
didn't have.
'cause-
What was your proof? Because I know, from what I understand, because again, Vince and I did Panther, but from what I understand from you fellow FedExers is sometimes you have to provide that strip of paper as proof to your customer.
Yeah, it printed out a
Oh,
a
it still
tape.
printed
Yep,
a tape.
It printed
Okay,
a tape.
I
Yep.
missed that part. Okay.
Yep.
All
It's
right.
interesting. Reefer trailers have the lights and the controls on the front of the trailer, and you can see those red and the yellow and green lights for the reefer out of your side of your mirror, and that's interesting.
Yeah, I've seen them. Going up and down the road.
Yeah.
I was like, "What's that? What's that light
what's
mean?"
that
And
light
I finally
for?
learned
Yeah.
it. But yeah,
And you mentioned the underbelly
yes,
reefer units. So I had one of those on that truck as well.
Oh my gosh!
And it was so crazy because that thing being under there, it would not get airflow. And whenever you were in hot weather, like going through the desert out in Nevada or California, it would overheat constantly. So we would have to constantly be fighting with the temperature and try to keep it going. And FedEx sending the messages and temp out of range and all this stuff. And I learned a trick from the owner that I drove for at the time. We would pull over at a truck stop and grab a water hose and spray it down,
Yep.
and that would cool it off
Yep.
and get it back into range.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah, I knew a person who they had a reefer unit that wouldn't cool enough so in the old notch sleepers, they kind of had a similar issue. They would get some airflow, but not as much because the sleeper went above it, and so those reefers. If you look at a refrigerator unit mounted to the front of a truck, it's got like a couple vents up front. So it's meant as you're driving down the road, you've got that air pressure, and it just pushes that air
Right.
through the reefer, and it cools the system down that way. Well, this has a huge sleeper, literally 2 or 3 inches in front of it. So there's no airflow there. The sleeper's
Right.
blocking it. So that would be an issue on those to a degree. Not as bad as what you had, but still would be an issue. So we knew one guy, he went up there, and you know those sprinkler system, not misters,
Yes.
that you can get for your house and put on your back porch. He did a rope of those around the top of his reefer unit and plugged it into his sleeper. So if the reefer unit would get too hot, or when he was like doing like super cold loads, he would just turn that on and just soak everything in cold water,
Wow.
which would help bring that temperature down. And he
Wow.
uses so little water, it didn't really like deplete his
Sure.
tank or anything. So yeah,
Interesting.
creative ways to do that stuff. I'm glad we've got a much better system now. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was
The viewers who currently are running out there for FedEx are saying the same thing.
Oh yeah, it's much better now. Another, I have another friend of ours who's a fleet owner, and she was talking about one of those under mount units that she had on one of her trucks, and from day one the thing had a freon leak, and they never could figure out where it was coming from. The whole thing was completely dye. They did the dye stuff. They sprayed everything down. They never could find it. So every year, she would go into the shop, and they would just top off the freon.
Huh.
So
Wow.
until she got rid of that truck, that's what they did every single year.
Wow.
Because they never could figure out where it was leaking from.
Mm.
Crazy times back then.
You want to talk about vibrating? Like some drivers complain about the
Oh,
APU.
yeah.
Have the reefer running, shaking the box
Oh,
in the
yeah,
truck,
I
the
bet.
APU running.
Oh,
I mean,
so when we bought this truck, Eric and I were actually looking at a 2008, I want to say, Volvo. I don't know if you remember Phil Madsen. They went by the A-Team on the old forums back in the day. They had a Volvo truck with a 132-inch sleeper and a little 16-foot box on the back, and it had a carrier reefer unit mounted underneath it. And we went and test drove that thing before we bought this 2009. So we heard nothing but great things about this truck. It's a beautiful truck. It's absolutely gorgeous. So this thing's gorgeous. The flags, everything on it is beautiful. But the reefer unit, we fired it up, that old Carrier Supra underneath the
that's
sleeper,
what I had.
even in a 132-inch ARI with air ride, it was like horrible. It was
Whoa.
loud. It vibrated the whole sleeper. It was like, oh, this is terrible.
Yep.
We tried so hard to get that truck. It wouldn't go to California, but we were so in love with the truck. It was just, it was kept in perfect condition. That dude knew how to maintain a truck. I think the financing didn't work out on it or something. There was something we were doing with it that just didn't jive, and so we ended up buying this truck instead. This 2009 truck, which was great because it was a workhorse. It went to California. It is one of those trucks I was talking about last week that has a DPF filter but not a DEF system, so it doesn't take diesel exhaust fluid. It was strictly a DPF. Had a Mercedes-Benz engine in it, MBE 4000. Got excellent fuel economy.
Wow.
Ran like you wouldn't believe. Never had an issue with the DPF filter. I mean, just a wonderful truck. And I thought it was so cool because right there on the side of the engine is this huge Mercedes logo and the Mercedes-Benz name across it or whatever. And it's like, yeah, I got me a Mercedes. Like, you know what I mean? Like I was so proud of that thing. Yeah, but that was
You drove a Mercedes too?
I did. My 2009, the previous fleet owner that I drove for, yeah, it was actually purple and white, and it had purple blades on the side of the sleeper.
Ooh.
that was a thing
Yeah.
back then. Oh, was that one of the Benz sleepers?
Yes.
Yeah. So that was one where they were doing. Did that had the reefer on top, right?
It had the reefer on top, but it was a flat top.
It was a flat top. There was no big. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. How was the headroom in those? I've of all the trucks I've been in, that's one variant that I have not been inside. Was there plenty of headroom, or
Yeah. I never had a problem. Stand up, walk around.
was it a flat floor with the cab, or did it drop down?
It was just like what you see today. Just
Okay,
a little
flat.
step over,
Yeah.
the little
Okay.
board, you know.
No.
Yeah.
I'd never been inside of one, but yeah, they were the first ones to really do it. And they actually developed the reefer notch. So Bent's got bought by I'm sorry. Bent's developed the new reefer mold for the Cascadia, which is kind of what most people know now. It looks just like a factory sleeper with the curving and everything, and then it has the reefer notch out in the back. So the reefer actually sits over the sleeper instead of into the box. And so Bent's spent, I think it was like $50,000 developing that roof mold, and it got Freightliner Smartway approved or whatever, all that good stuff. So it was really nice done. Then Bent's went out of business, and Bolt ended up buying them out. So that's how it kind of got to where it is now. So Bent Sleepers is now Bolt. And actually, Bent's has a really interesting history where they actually used to be the OEM they built international sleepers. So like old international tractors from like the 70s and 80s had a bent sleeper on them. Now they were sold through the international dealership, so you wouldn't necessarily know they were a bent sleeper, but that's how they got in the sleeper business.
Wow.
From way back then. So anyways, yeah, so that 2009, Eric and I did go out and drive it, and we learned the business, and our team that we put in that Kenworth was rocking and rolling. They were doing so well. Eric and I, like, one day had to, like, sit down and have a conversation of, like, we can't lose this team, and they're doing so good. Someone is going to take them if we don't put them in a nice truck. So we made the decision to go back into the Kenworth and swap trucks with them. So they took the Cascadia with the custom sleeper on it. We went back to the factory sleeper, and they just killed it in the in the reefer truck. And Eric and I just rocked the Kenworth for a few more, I guess, months at that point. That was from May, and by December we had decided I'm sorry, let me back up. That was in May.
Of what year?
Of 2014. In July, we went to the Expedite Expo in Wilmington, Ohio. Did you ever go to one?
I never did.
So, Wilmington, Ohio, if you've ever driven through that area, there's the big Arnell is there, the big Arnell yard. And then across the street on 70 between Cincinnati and Columbus, there's a huge Arnell. It's our main headquarters, I think.
On 70? No,
71.
R and L.
R and L.
I'm trying to figure out who Arnell is. Yeah,
You
on
know-
71, there's a big R and L depot.
Yes.
They have the hotel across the street.
Yes.
Yes.
So
yes.
across the street is the Holiday Inn with the Max and Irma's and a big convention center.
Right.
That's where Expo was.
Gotcha. Okay.
So back in the day, most everybody would just show up in their own truck, which I guess they do the last few expos. And we'd hang out in the parking lot, and then you go inside and do the show. The restaurant that's there now was Max and Irma's back then. Yeah, Max and Irma's. Yeah. And so we walked around the show, met Jonesy. Everybody knows back in the day, knew Jeff Jones. He was one of the two salesmen making these trucks. We loved the product. It was a really cool year. That year, he had a truck there, Cascadia there, with the Bolt Sleeper, the fancy Bolt Sleeper, that had only been out for a couple of years because Cascadia was so new back then. It didn't have a box on it. This should have been for a little bit of foreshadowing, but the box wasn't prepared in time. So they just said, well, don't put the box on the truck. Just bring it without a box. So because of that, we were actually able to see the frame and see the axles and how they add the lift axle to it and all that stuff, which was really cool. A great way to get in there and kind of see, like, that was my first time ever seeing what a double frame was. I'd heard the concept of a double frame, but I didn't really know what that really meant. And it literally is like a frame with a slightly larger frame on the outside of it. And that's how they get that extra strength when they need extra strength in the frame. And it's bolted together, 1,000 bolts in those things.
Sure.
And then so, got to see that, decided, all right, we want to order a truck. And I remember it pissed me off so bad. We were sitting up in the in that truck, and he was in there doing a little sales pitch, and we were chatting with him, and he said, he said, we just bought this truck, and, we want to grow our business and expand. He's like, great. When you pay that truck off, come and see me and talk to me. And it was like, no, we want to place an order with you now.
Yeah, now.
Like,
right.
We're not looking to like pay a truck off and in 4 years buy another one and
Sure.
then 4 years pay another. Like, that wasn't the plan. Had to have that conversation with him, and then we ended up going to Max and Irma's with him later on and had a great conversation. Very knowledgeable person. It paramount to getting the industry where it is now. Towards his end of his career, he kind of did some of that, like put his heels in the ground and say, I'm not changing some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So that was kind of frustrating. And then he retired. I mean, like this industry would not be where it is without him. So
Wow.
it was great to kind of dig in his brain and get to learn about how he builds these trucks and why he did what he did and how everything came to be. But we were able to place that order, and we were going to have a December delivery, and it was like, excellent. Can't wait. So November comes around, and he's like, hey, we're looking more like March. I'm like, okay. I forgot what the issue was, something with the box or something. And I'm like, okay, well, that sucks. We really wanted at that point to get another truck. We were like really had the itch to go ahead and add another one on. And there was a guy, another fleet owner, still in business, and he had a truck for sale. And so Eric and I were like, had low miles, pretty good condition. This was a newer truck. It was a 2014 Cascadia, also a C unit. But this one, by 2014, again, AA sleeper like the last one.
Sure.
But by 2014, AA had started notching the reefer, putting a reefer notch in the sleeper. So the box was a full 22 feet long.
Right.
So there was no 18-foot weirdness with the half box and regular. So we were like, okay, cool. And we ended up buying that truck from him.
With the other one still on order.
With the other one still in order because we don't know when we're going to get it. So by that time, we had got the financing and everything. We went and picked that truck up. And I'm telling you, I took it out on the road the first day, and I was like, I'm going to die. I was way too trusting of this fleet owner to give the truck to me in good condition.
Wow.
So it was clean, but I mean, like, I had to hold the steering wheel at like a 9 o'clock position to be able to go in a straight line. If I let go, it immediately would go one way. And so brought it back to Texas, put it in the shop down there, and then I got it to my friend's alignment shop, and that guy worked his magic, and then it drove straight as an arrow after that.
Nice.
So met up with same kind of setup in the back. There's a side bed just like the last one. This time they had the more traditional oak stained cabinetry with the gray vinyls and stuff. So it's a really nice truck. Definitely a step up from 2009. So Eric and I got back in the 2009. Our 2009 people got into the 2014 truck.
Okay.
And then we filled the Kenworth for about a month. And then we realized we're going to have to swap places with them or they're going to leave. So Eric and I ended up swapping back. And so we go into 2015 with Eric and I driving the Kenworth, and we put another team in the 09. And so you kind of see what's happening here is we keep ending back in this Kenworth.
Should have just stayed there.
Should have just stayed there from the beginning, right?
Yeah.
So during this time, we were also doing things like we were playing with the pay plan, kind of dialing in how are we going to pay people, what kind of bonuses, if bonuses, do we want to do. So a lot of the things we do now when it comes to pay and settlements, we were fine-tuning during this time.
Wow.
Did some experimenting, got burned a few times, and really kind of learned like what works, what doesn't work. It was an interesting time for us. We were really kind of getting to play with stuff that now we're too big or too structured to be able to really experiment and play with. But a lot of growth really quickly, both with the trucks, but also with how to manage money, how to manage time, that sort of thing. Eric and I had a system down because we were still driving. We're like, we would tell the people, here's the hours you can call. So like if we're available 24 hours a day because we're driving, but here's Eric's shift, here's my shift. We never changed those shifts. We just held them steady the whole time. That way, the drivers never had to guess, who do I need to call, right? So 2015 rolls around, get a call from a salesman that wants my business, and it's someone I hadn't worked with before, but I wanted to give a shot. I wanted to kind of open up and be able to see the differences in two different dealerships. He has a used truck coming available. It's not available yet because the people that are going to be getting rid of it are actually trading it on another truck. So he's just going ahead and getting his buyer lined up for it, right? So I was like, that's cool. When do you think it'll be available? April-ish, March, April, something like that. We're like, cool, that works for us. Around this time, we get word from the dealership that the March time frame is actually May for the truck we ordered. For the truck we ordered in July. So for those, now we got pushed out 10 months.
Right.
It was, I want to say we ended up picking that truck up like June 1st or June 2nd. It was right. Might have been June 5th, something like that. It was right around there.
Almost a year.
Almost a year. Fell just short of a year. And we finally picked that brand new truck up and met Frank in the parking lot. So if those of you don't know Frank from Frank's TV, what was the channel?
Trucker Couple?
The Trucker Couple, but he has a new one out now.
He does.
Frank TV or something. Anyways, met him at Stoops Freightliner. Literally, I drove the truck from Stoops Freightliner, if you know where it is in Fort Wayne, Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
I drove it to the truck stop right below it.
Yep.
Got out, handed him the keys, and they moved into that truck and went to work in that thing.
Wow.
And then Eric and I stayed in the Kenworth, but not for long. Not for long, because we immediately left there and drove out to Fight a Freightliner in Columbus, Ohio, and picked up that 2012 truck. And let me tell you how scared I was, because I didn't understand how commercial lending worked really, and are we going to get in trouble because I've got financing for this truck and financing for that truck set up separately from two different banks? Like, is one going to find out, oh, you bought that, like you took a loan out here, but we didn't know you were going to take a loan out there. Right. So, like, am I going to get in trouble now for the, like, I didn't understand how it all worked. And I was like, oh, please don't let us get in some kind of financial fraud trouble, whatever, as I'm trying to juggle all this, because we immediately went and picked it up. And so we signed 2 trucks onto FedEx literally like 2 days apart from each other.
Wow.
And then put a team into the Kenworth, and Eric and I got into that truck. That truck's affectionately called Old Blue. It was a 2012 Freightliner Cascadia dry van. So Eric and I stayed, we bounced between T-Val and dry van at that time. It was a dry van, had a lift axle on it. The Kenworth did not have a lift axle, so we could hold heavy weight. Had a lift gate on it. The Kenworth did not have a lift gate, so we could now do lift gate loads. Oh, it was a nice dry van. It was super nice, and had a very weak engine. Back in those days, they were experimenting with the platform to get the horsepower transmission combination right.
Right.
And it had what we use now is a 410 horsepower. It had a 370 horsepower.
Oof.
So when it was fully loaded, climbing hills got a little tricky.
I believe it.
But got pretty good fuel economy because of that lower horsepower rating, though. But yeah, we moved that truck. All the countertops were blue. The table was blue. The background behind the bed was blue.
Oh,
so it
the
wasn't called
seats.
Old Blue because the truck itself was blue.
No, the truck was white. The interior, the sleeper, was blue.
That's weird.
Ba-da-be-da-ba-doom.
Right. Yeah.
Oh man, I love that truck. We ran that thing to death. We had a lot of fun with that thing. And we ended up putting it. Just gonna shock you. We ended up putting another team in that truck.
Did you go back to
going back
Kenworth?
to the Kenworth?
And went back to the Kenworth.
Nice.
And the team we put in that truck was some friends of ours that we made through an acquaintance from Louisiana. That was exciting. It was our first time putting a team into a truck that were like friends. They weren't people we found randomly on the internet or whatever. And so they ran that truck for a long time. They had the misfortune on that one of spinning a bearing in it in Houston, Texas. So we had to go through the process of a warranty on a long block for a DD13, and I mean, that's an experience.
I believe it.
We had to go and I had to get all the maintenance records from the previous owners because I had a rough draft of what was done. I didn't have every single receipt and everything. Had to get all those receipts, had to get all that information, submitted all to Daimler so that they could make a determination on if they were going to pay for the repair or not. And sure enough, they ended up replacing the entire engine. We had to pay like $300 in oil because when they replace your engine, it doesn't include oil.
Well, that's consumable. That makes sense.
It doesn't it?
That's not bad though for an engine price.
No, it's not.
It's not,
truly not.
It's not bad. What was bad was the 2.5 months it was down waiting.
Still paying a note.
Yes.
Still paying insurance.
Yep.
Yeah.
As long as you
Carrier
make sure
fees.
they know there's no oil in it
Yeah.
before you try to turn it on.
Well, it did remind me. So last week we misspoke. So I want to fix that real quick. Eric was talking about we had an exciting engine rebuild that we had to do, and it was that truck.
No, I was talking about another one.
No, it was the Kenworth. It was the Kenworth.
Yeah.
And
Not Old Blue.
not Old
Not
Blue.
Old Blue.
This is the original truck
Okay.
that we bought. One of the teams we had in it at one point, we had to rebuild that engine because
It was a team, but his co-driver ended up having to go home for some personal family
And he ran solo
like a
for a
death
while.
reason or something. So this guy was running by himself and decided to put
Antifreeze. I
I
believe it's
don't
called.
remember-
I believe it's called.
not oil.
I don't remember
coolant.
what went with there, but he put the wrong fluid in the wrong
He
opening.
coolant in
In
the
the
oil.
Ooh.
Yeah,
So not intentionally, and you know some things
he probably
happen.
did it in the dark.
You know how some things happen, and you're like, was this intentional or
Sure.
not? No, this guy didn't do this intentionally.
have that kind of
He wasn't
personality.
that kind of person. We were actually on a really good basis with him.
Right.
He had at that time we were using Mobile One, or not Mobile One, Mobile Delvac
Delvac, yeah.
engine oil, and on those like the new engines, the Detroit diesels that are out now, they sip oil.
Right.
Man, you
they
can go
barely use
You can
oil.
go whole oil change, not have to
Yeah,
add
not
it. You
have
still
to add
need to
anything.
check it
Right.
because you might have to add it, but
Sure.
usually you don't. The Caterpillars from back in those days, not necessarily as
Okay.
well machined
All right.
as the new Detroits are. And so they would use a little oil. So every now and then you would have to top them off, but not often, but still you would occasionally. And we also were using the red coolant.
Mm-hmm.
Peak didn't make a red coolant.
Oh, okay.
There wasn't many options to get it. You could buy I think Freightliner sold a version of it. Caterpillar sold their own brand
Okay.
version of it. So mobile red coolant was actually the cheapest option,
All right.
which you would think is crazy because now it's one of the most expensive options. But that at the time was the cheapest option, and they were in identical bottles. They were both black bottles. They both one had
somebody didn't think
one had
that
a
through in
one had a
marketing.
black lid, one had a red lid. But that was it. So just like Eric said, middle of the night, going to top some engine oil off, pulled the dipstick. Yeah, I need to add a little bit. Just reached in the toolbox and
Yeah.
just grabbed the wrong one.
To be fair, today, if you go into our storage unit or our inventory,
Yeah.
and grab two black bottles, one could be coolant and one can be oil.
Absolutely.
And if you don't look at the bottles very carefully,
It's easy to mess
it's
it up.
easy to mess it up.
Yeah.
You have to read the words that
Yep.
Delvac 5W30 oil or whatever it is,
Yeah.
or antifreeze. You still do.
Absolutely.
And back to your point about the Freightliners, the Detroit engine sipping oil. In the 2 years, just over 2 years that I've been working in the yard, I've had one truck come back that was low on oil.
Yeah.
I didn't top it off because it was going straight to the shop for an oil change.
It was just that
But it was just that time. There's been literally one truck in that 2 years that we've had that
Yeah.
came back with low oil, and it wasn't super low.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't due for service, it would have got oil because it was that low enough. But yeah, it's interesting.
Coolant and windshield washer fluid, though.
Coolant.
You
and
go
winch-
through a lot of coolant and windshield washer fluid. in
Oh,
the
we
yard.
do. Yeah,
Yeah.
we do.
Yeah.
We certainly do.
a lot of wash fluid.
Yeah, water washer fluid. The price
So
on that stuff has gone through the roof.
it really has.
It's like $4 a gallon at Walmart.
I know.
Used to be 99 cents.
Used to be less. I don't remember it, but
Yeah.
so I want to say it was very quick. Like I think he drove it to the shop.
Well, he realized the problem, and
Yeah, and just that little bit of time.
yeah, it was enough.
It was enough because your antifreeze has I don't know if it's alcohol or alcohol-like properties, and it just destroys the oil. Just destroys
But
it.
it also has
And
water
once
in it,
it's-
too.
Yeah, and once it's in there, that's
It's
it.
done.
So
It's done.
So you're up to 4 trucks now? 5 trucks.
we're at 5 trucks now. So this was a big year. We bought a 2009 Cascadia T-Val truck. We bought a 2014 and a 2015 Cascadia T-Val truck, and then we bought the dry van for 2012. My experience with Fido was so pleasant. We actually ended up switching most of our business to them.
Wow.
I know.
Still today?
So today we work with everybody. I mean, we just do. We work with Valley Freightliner, Stoops Freightliner. Which is now Truck Country. We work with Fido Freightliner. We were working with Buckeye Western Star, but they got bought by Fido Freightliner. We work with a couple of Volvo dealerships.
Whoever can get the truck out fastest.
Yeah,
At
absolutely.
the right price.
At the right
the right
price,
price.
yeah. We bought a truck
Yeah.
out at Flight of Phoenix last year. Bought a
Yep.
truck out in Phoenix.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's just, yeah. It's
Phoenix,
just kinda,
Arizona?
That's the one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was an interesting
I
trip.
should have said Phoenix, Oregon.
Yeah, Phoenix, Oregon. That would have been funny.
What was nice about the?
I remember the stories from that trip.
Yeah.
The cab airbags.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was a fun trip.
That's a story for
You can
another
go
day.
back. Well,
Yes,
it's a story we've already said. I'm pretty sure you can go back to one of our previous episodes
you
last
can.
year and you hear all
You
about
can.
it. It was a lot of fun. But yeah, that was kind of our, middle of the year. We're starting to ramp up. We're starting to get teams in. We've been working on the model. We've been dialing it in, and yeah, that's how.
I feel like
there.
you're on the high dive, and you're on the ledge, and then you just took the dive, and 5 trucks later.
Yep. And to your point, what's going to be exciting is next week we're going to be underwater.
Oh!
But
Oh! Do you need a life preserver thrown towards you?
we felt like it.
Well,
But-
we'll have to wait. I'm
yeah.
excited to hear about that.
Talk about that next week. Yeah. Oh, we didn't talk about. We did get to do one of my favorite trips ever happened that year. While we were in the 2009 Freightliner Cascadia, I just thought about the 2014 Cascadia was the first one we never drove. We never drove that
Wow.
one.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Anyways, while we're in that 2009 Cascadia, that was when we did our Mount St. Helens trip, which I can't believe it's been that long ago that we were there. But yeah, that was when we went out to Mount St. Helens. We brought our FedEx truck out there. Just was blown away. Is it too soon?
Is that too soon?
It might be.
I don't know. It happened in the 80s.
It was just completely shocking. Have y'all been out there? Any of y'all been out to Mount St.
No.
Helens?
No.
It looks like the volcano blew up yesterday. It's
I
unbelievable
believe it.
how much
Yeah.
destruction there is.
Oh, yeah.
40 years after it happened.
Yeah.
It's just it was amazing in the worst kind of way.
Sure.
Like it was pretty crazy. Yeah, had some fun times on that trip. That was one where we kept finding truck stops where we could park somewhere scenic and open up the windows and just relax. Because, a lot of truck stops you can't. A lot of
You
truck
can't.
stops, you open up
You
the
can't.
window, you're going to get diesel fumes or worse
Yeah.
in your sleeper.
worse.
Or worse.
Or worse in
Yeah.
your sleeper. And so that one we had a lot of pretty good success with.
Yeah.
And, yeah.
We had a trip like that in Indiana, I want to say,
Mm-hmm.
where we delivered on Monday morning. We got there Sunday afternoon, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. We were able to park on the customer's property, and they had a huge parking lot and a huge lawn.
Nice.
So we parked next to the lawn, and it was so far out in the middle of nowhere. We could let Annie run around, without
Yeah.
a leash and enjoy the grass. We were able to open the windows, no APU, no rooftop air, just open the windows and let a breeze roll through.
It was a
and-
really nice day.
Oh, it was a very nice day. Very nice day.
Yep.
I want to go back there. Go camp on their grass.
It was beautiful grass.
It was a golf
Yeah.
course, but,
Well,
Close. Close.
Putting green.
Yeah, but it's okay.
Well, no. Good times, good memories. It's so weird thinking about all these things because in some respects it feels like yesterday, and in other respects it's like so much has changed since then.
Yeah.
So much has
Yeah.
changed.
It's been a
since
hot
then.
moment ago.
It has been.
Yes, it is.
But I tell you what's been really interesting is this past weekend I got to do something fun with Melissa, and I got to take her to on a first experience. And it's a first experience that genuinely surprised me that it was her first experience. Like I thought she was lying to me at first. And it's like, no, it was really her first trip. So Melissa, you want me to tell them or you want to tell them what we did?
No, sure. I mean, I'll tell you my experience, but where did you take me?
I took her to Faro Harley Davidson.
That was a firstie.
It was.
That was a
Yeah,
firstie.
there you
I'd
go.
not. We've driven by Vince and I several times. No real need to stop.
Yeah. It's that really nice Harley Davidson when you go north on 71.
Yeah.
Just past Columbus on the right-hand side. There's like a 2-story, beautiful
Next to the outlet
Harley.
malls.
Next to the outlet
Yeah.
malls. And there's a Pilot and Flying J
Pilot.
right
There
there.
it is.
Yep. We weren't interested in a Harley, so I guess no real reason to go. You can always window shop, I suppose,
Sure.
but
yeah.
just no real reason to go there. But yes, you did take me there. But that
That was just that was a
teaser.
A teaser. No. I took Melissa for her first ever experience to get IKEA Swedish meatballs.
He did. I've never been to IKEA. So where I lived in Oregon,
How
there
do you
just
never go to?
wasn't an IKEA. Maybe Portland might have one. Seattle area for sure. Portland might have one. Just wasn't. I mean, Portland was 4 hours. 4
Right.
hours?
Yeah.
4-hour drive. So it wasn't like you were just going to go to the mall or IKEA for the day. So, but.
We just went from Lafayette to Houston.
Baton
It's
Rouge,
just a day trip.
Baton Rouge to Houston. Baton Rouge to Houston.
And then I think they were
It's
rather
just a day
new
trip.
too, you know. Probably by the time they were around, I already had my house furniture, all my needs met in home goods.
You can
But-
always use an extra Billy shelving unit, though.
Yes.
So, anyway.
Ara duaflong.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly.
So I had no idea what to expect. Obviously, it's a huge building. So, you know, you prepared me. You said wear walking shoes.
I did.
Which I did. And we started our IKEA experience in their cafeteria. And I did have the Swedish meatballs. I they were good.
You had the lingonberry sauce.
The gravy was a little reminded me of grade school gravy. It wasn't bad.
All right.
But the berry sauce was very
Did you
tasty.
mix it with the gravy?
I did.
Okay.
I had peas. No potatoes. I had green beans as my potato, but the peas were. I love peas. They were really, really good. The peas were delicious.
I cheated. I had the mashed taters in the gravy. It was so good.
It was the view in there is beautiful in that cafeteria. But anyways, we started our journey. I was going to ask you this. You started a timer. Did you ever stop the timer,
Yes.
or is it still going?
No, I did stop it. I did stop it.
Do you know how long it took us? Because you said
No, it
'cause
was.
I asked you,
it
like-
was. It was 41 hours later, but I did
It
stop
was.
it.
So he's like, just a second. And I'm like, what are you doing? He's like, I'm setting my timer. And I'm like, for what? He's like, see how long it takes you to get through here. He's like, we're doing this at your pace. And I'm like, okay. So obviously it's going to take me a while, I guess. So I started and there we went. And before long, we ended up in this gigantic warehouse. And then we're checking out because I did buy one item.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. And we got to the warehouse, and I'm like, when did we come down from the cafeteria? Like, is it a gentle slope? Like we just, because I feel like we just kept doing a big circle around the entire, circumference of this huge building, and I'm like, maybe there just was a gentle slope that I missed.
Dante wrote a book about it.
And you, one of you's like, well, we took the stairs down at the cafeteria, and I'm like, we did? It was so long ago, I didn't remember making that move down, but overwhelming for a first time. You could definitely get a gist of what they've got. So I guess now in the future, you could put that in your repertoire of where you might want to go shopping. But so much. I honestly didn't know what an IKEA was. I thought it was just kind of furniture. I
Yeah.
have cousins or Vince has talked about it. You guys,
Yeah.
the shelving or whatever,
Yeah.
you've talked about things, but I just didn't realize
So much.
you could so much.
Yeah. So
So much. I had fun.
I-
My knees and my ankles were
Sore the next day.
not the next day, but that night.
Okay.
Or definitely walking out the parking lot and into the car. I couldn't wait to sit down. It was.
Yeah.
I could
It's-
have worn even better shoes. When he meant walking shoes, he meant like, professional grade walking
Yeah.
shoes.
It was easily a mile, I think.
oh, probably.
Yeah.
Easily.
Yeah.
And then we strolled. Right. We didn't really run through.
Well, you stop and look.
We paced.
Yes,
Yeah.
and we did each cubicle because you
Yeah,
have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
Especially if
You
you've
have
never
to.
been.
Yep.
Yeah.
There were some cubicles that were the full house setup that I
The full
told
apartment. Yeah.
that I told Patrick and Eric. I'm like, if we could just take this and put it on land with a fenced yard, I'd be a happy girl. Like it was perfect.
I love.
It was just the quantity of space. Right now, our space is not that big, but this was even better. It was less,
It was tiny.
but it was still big and spacious, and it felt full. But there were some really cool ideas.
Well, I
in
think
there.
the one that you really liked was like what, 450 square foot or something like that.
that sounds about right.
Yeah. It was about
The only
450
thing I
square
need to
foot.
figure out was how to put a door between, because it was very open
It was
concept.
very open.
There was like a half wall or 3/4 wall
Yeah.
between the living space and the bedroom. There wasn't necessarily a door, but I'm like, if you could figure out a door so you could be truly separate and watch two separate TVs on the opposite sides
Sure.
of the walls, That would be pretty cool.
Or even take a nap and not have to hear the TV or the
Sure,
phone call or
sure,
something like that.
yeah. But it was a very neat store. Again, I did end up buying one thing, and it was a gift anyway. But yeah, go ahead.
We have that other thing too that may or may not. Did you show him that?
We haven't got to that since he's been home.
Okay, well, we'll have to
I mean,
get to
I
it at
did
some
share
point.
that with him that I wanted to go back, but I wanted to
Yeah.
show him pictures first.
Yeah.
To see if he was interested.
Well, I thought it was interesting that it was like, okay, here's a place. If you've never been to IKEA, go. If you're driving a truck, they have huge parking lots.
Oh my goodness!
It's a great place to go. Their cafes, healthy-ish.
You could make
It's
healthy
certainly
options.
it's certainly it's certainly affordable compared to a iron skillet.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
A little tip is if you join IKEA family, which you can, it's free. It's their rewards program. It's free hot coffee, like regular coffee in the cafe. So, get your cup of water, get your coffee and a meal, and
go for a
hit
walk.
that coffee 3, 4, 5 dozen times.
They did have
And,
bathrooms precariously, which was nice because I ended
Yes.
up doing tea. They only offered tea in like the pre-bottled Lipton or whatever it was. So I did that. I did get a glass and did ice and poured some tea in there. But then when I was done, I put all the ice back in because I wanted to walk with a beverage, but it was, had a lid on it so I wouldn't spill it. Because they really don't have fountain drink cups. Like you can't drink and then walk,
I don't think they want you to.
which I get that and I respect that.
because there's so much of it's
So-
displayed.
Yeah,
You
so
could-
again, I had a lid, but they had bathrooms precariously, so because
They did?
you would need those, especially if you ate and then took a walk. You might
or if you
need
had children, or
yeah.
Yeah. So I wasn't there.
No, you weren't. You were gone.
I wasn't invited.
Well, you weren't even in
I
town.
wasn't. I went to Michigan with some friends for the Michigan-Texas football game.
Oh.
Hook 'em horns. And I was talking to my friends. I was like, hey, they asked me what Melissa's doing this weekend without you there. Is she enjoying her time? And I said, well, today she's going to IKEA with some friends of ours. And I said, I figure I'm going to get back home to a brand new house full of furniture. And they were like, no, you'll get home to a bunch of boxes of furniture that you have to assemble.
Yeah.
So I was very pleasantly surprised that I didn't come home to boxes
Yeah.
of Billy bookshelves.
It was on the cusp. I was almost ready to pull my trigger on one piece of furniture.
Is it the one I'm thinking of?
It was the very first one.
Oh,
Are those the ones we talked about that you mentioned to me?
Yes.
That yeah.
Granted, the last one, the
All right.
yellow one,
was your
I was
favorite?
yes, but I think what he's gonna like would be the first one.
I could see that. But I think the yellow one is more you.
Yes, and our house.
So
For our decorations.
Yeah.
At any rate, it was a shelving system, if everybody wants to know.
We'll have to show pictures when we decide to get it.
Yep.
Which one we do decide to get.
Yeah.
But
We'll need to
anyway,
follow up.
I had a really good time. It got me out of the house. Otherwise, I just, true crimed it up while you were gone because nothing like being home alone with just your dog watching true crime.
Yeah.
I kept thinking, like, I didn't know if she'd like anything in the store.
Oh, I did.
Because it is like it's a mix of like super economy furniture,
yeah.
like really really inexpensive stuff to pretty nice stuff. I
Yeah.
mean, their
Yeah.
kitchen cabinets and countertops they're putting
Sure.
in multi-million-dollar homes. Like it gets to really nice
Well, yeah,
stuff.
You go from particle board
Yes,
to solid wood.
yes,
You have everything in between.
Yeah.
correct.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
It's interesting that way, and it was fun too going at all their little setups because they actually have these mock homes or the mock living rooms or the mock bedrooms, depending on where you're going, and and they do such a good job. It's not like if you ever go to like a Pier 1 or one of those type of like bougie furniture stores,
Right.
and everything is just perfect. Everything's super nice. No, there's
It looks lived
the
in.
books are scattered.
Right.
The throw is half hanging on, half hanging
They had
off.
clothes hanging on the hangers in
Yes.
some of these rooms, and they had them zip tied on.
Yeah,
But I agree. If you're out there trucking and you have time on a load or you need to get out of the truck, go.
especially in winter when winter hits.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a great way to go walk and kill a couple hours
sure.
and just meander, and you'll find stuff. We have had IKEA stuff on the truck. I mean, like
Yeah.
it was.
No one says
there's-
you have to buy to get out of the truck.
Correct.
We've always said that.
Yeah.
Go to any mall. You don't have to buy. Just walk around.
I did think it was funny. Both Melissa and I were looking at white bowls that were 99 cents, and we were both like, I don't know why we need these, but I feel like we need these. We
There
both
was
resisted.
something calling
we both,
my name.
We both resisted. We didn't buy any,
No.
but we both looked at them and had the same thought
Yeah.
of like, this shouldn't be so cheap and so nice.
But it was like a medium size. I pictured like your mashed potatoes
Yes.
for Thanksgiving or your green beans.
Yeah.
It was kind of a serving bowl, but it wasn't huge, and it wasn't. I could see a nice Big Mac salad for one person in there. Like there was enough space. It wasn't
Right.
just like a cereal bowl. It was an in between size, and it was nice.
So I hear the two of you talking about the trip to IKEA,
Yeah.
and I know that Eric went with you.
Yeah.
He did.
Was Eric just looking at plants the whole time you guys were wandering around? Because I know that's Eric's happy
No, but we
place.
did spend the most amount of time in the plant section, but that's neither here nor there. Eric, what did you do?
I enjoyed the plants at the end of it.
Fair. That's your happy place.
Which is
I
where
get
they
it.
were.
Yeah.
He had to walk through all of it to get to
Well,
the
yeah.
end of
Another
the
thing I
plants.
enjoyed in their home models, their windows have fluorescent light on the back of them that look like outside light,
Okay.
and then they had
Cityscapes.
clear cityscape pictures. Not all cityscape. I think some of them are
Backyards
nature,
Yes.
or nature.
backyard
Yeah.
And then
stuff.
they've got curtains, so it looks like you're looking out a window.
So it's kind of like walking through a museum. With
Yeah.
different picture displays.
Well, it'd be neat. We've talked about like at the house in the basement, there's a bedroom, which a lot of people in Ohio have a bedroom in their
Sure.
basement, and there's no window, and it's like this would be great to put in there and fake it because especially if you're
It
like
looks
work,
just like a window.
it looks just like a window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it's a natural sunlight, no, but it would
It's
just
the
be
same-
it would just be the ambiance of it
Right.
that I think
it would
would
give you that appearance of having
Yeah.
an
Exactly.
outdoor
It
view
was
the
versus
same
being
bulb
cooped
light,
up in a
same bulb light and dimness.
yeah.
Yeah. It was fun. We had
Yeah.
a good time.
Cool.
Yep.
Lots
I
of
did
laughs.
say as we were leaving, have you been to IKEA?
I have not
Yes.
this one, but I have been IKEA before.
Okay, I did say as we were leaving and driving out, I said, I'm kind of glad Vince wasn't with us. And she was like, what? Like,
yeah,
pray
offended.
tell?
Sure.
And I'm like, I just don't know that Vince would enjoy spending 3 hours walking around in IKEA at a meandering pace.
I think were
Well,
we there that
randomly
long?
looking at
I
Were
do
we
stuff.
there that
meander.
long?
You
was
do
it,
me at
was it 3 hours?
it was because I think we left around 5:30, and another store I wanted to go to closed at 5. So I didn't
But
think
you
we
also
were going to be
stopped
there
and
that
had
long.
lunch too.
We did stop and have lunch.
So.
Yeah.
No,
But-
I grew up in a big city, and we had a couple IKEAs.
Yeah.
So yeah, I went to IKEA before.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was
I can
fun.
say I've been. I will most likely be back. I may use the shortcuts next time.
Yes. Yeah. Once we did the whole walking path, then we told her, like, by the way, there's shortcuts. You don't have to actually do the whole thing.
Yeah.
And if you order online and pick up at the store, you just pull up to
Avoid
the
all
front,
that. Yeah.
back up, they'll bring it out, load it for you, and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's kind of missing the experience, but I appreciate that.
Yeah. So I did that. If you go to my office, my entire back wall of my office is all shelving, big base cabinets with the open shelving
Not
on the
Billy.
sides, and then the middle is glass doors or whatever. All that's IKEA. It's all real wood. It's all solid wood. It's super nice. And I actually did that. Eric was out of town, and I knew I wanted to do this, and so I went and bought it all from IKEA. Had to get most of it from the Columbus IKEA, and then had to go to Cincinnati.
I think you did.
Had to go to Cincinnati
Wow.
to get a couple more pieces,
Yeah.
and then came back and hired someone, some college student. It was before because now you have what, Snap? Do you have TaskRabbit now? Like, I think we have
TaskRabbit.
You have we have TaskRabbit in
That's a
Columbus
thing.
now, but it wasn't back then because this was 5 years ago, something like that. So I hired some kid to come over, and me and him built the whole setup.
Wow.
And so when Eric came back, he was like, "Holy crap!" Like, completely changed my
Yeah.
office.
That's one
and-
thing with IKEA too. They're shipping because they will ship to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's expensive.
It's insane.
goodness,
it's
it's crazy.
insanely
Are they
expensive.
shipping it from Sweden?
China. It's China. It's insane. Yeah, Iceland maybe. I don't know. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it's crazy.
It's
Expensive.
like, oh, that thing's only $20,
Yeah.
but it's $100 shipping.
Yep.
Wow.
and that's no joke.
Yeah, it's
That's-
outrageous.
That's how bad it is.
wow.
Yeah. So
So I like him. I appreciate it. I think it's on. The other thing I talked about was even if, like, sometimes I will use IKEA for inspiration. Like, if I have a thought and
yeah.
I'm like, I can't quite picture how I want this,
sure.
just walking through there. Now, granted, if it's a living room thing, then I'm going to go to the living room section.
Right.
But then I might also hit the bed and the closet space and that kind of stuff because they have, like just because a piece of furniture is supposed to be
or because we call it something.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't mean it
Doesn't
can't
mean it
be
has
used
to
for
be
something
right.
else. Like a
Yeah.
nightstand could be a printer stand.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
So I have walked through. I will walk through those other sections, albeit a lot brisklier
Sure.
than I would through whatever I'm
Sure.
actually looking for. But I've definitely got some inspiration. Sometimes that inspiration is, that is what I want to do. I just don't see anything here I want.
Right.
So then I'll buy something from another place, which I know they hate, but
But that's kind of the cost of doing business the way they do.
It really
Is
is.
they're giving you ideas, hoping you're buying from them.
Yeah.
But you may not find exactly what you like there.
So the furniture in here in this room right now, the couch, the love seat, these two chairs are postmodern. I love postmodern everything. I got inspired by that from walking through an IKEA. They had a postmodern couch, and they have two chairs that are very similar to this. I just didn't exactly like what they had,
Sure.
and I found this stuff elsewhere.
Oh.
But that absolutely came
I
from them.
absolutely love this stuff.
Yeah.
It's so comfortable.
It does its job.
So comfortable.
So next week, you're going
I
to
get to sit in this chair again next week.
be
Yep.
here sitting in that comfortable chair.
I wish I had one of these at home.
Well, I'll tell you where I bought them.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
Acme.
Yeah.
Acme Furniture. So
Roadrunner works there, doesn't he?
beep beep. Alrighty. Well, next week I think next week might be interesting. Won't it?
Yeah, it might be.
It might be interesting next week.
Ooh.
We got some. We may have some trickery up our sleeves. Ooh. But that's for next week. In the meantime, please hit all those buttons in front of your screen. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down if you hate us. Leave a comment. Share us. Almost everything you got right there has a share button. Send it to a friend and be like, hey, you should listen to this. Thank you for supporting our channel. If you have any ideas that you're like, hey, I really wish I would talk about XYZ, drop us a comment, or you can shoot us an email at
theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com.
also known as
theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com.
one more time.
theouterbeltpodcast@gmail.com.
And you can call us on Jerry's personal phone number at
212-555-1212. I know. I'm in trouble now. I gave it out. He'll probably edit it out anyway. So
you can actually call us. Well, a couple of us. If you go to hyfieldtrucking.com, there's a contact us there, and you can actually have the phone number to the company.
833 Hyfield.
833 Hyfield. You can reach out to us, and we'd love to talk to you all about, we're an established company now. We're talking about how we built it, but we're an established company now. If it's something you'd be interested in doing, or if you know a couple people and you're like, y'all want to drive together, it's a great opportunity to start. We'd absolutely love the opportunity to chat with them. We've got Melissa and Delina and Kayla and Kelly all working together, and Jerry does a chat function on there too or something like that.
Yep.
So, all right, well, until next week, drive safe and make good decisions.
And don't leave money on the table.
And keep those wheels a turning.